Hi. All of you use a lot of goods and services in your businesses, and we really need jobs in Mesquite. Is there could you try to think of something that you now have to go outside of Mesquite to purchase that you would like to be able to purchase in Mesquite? That might help someone get an idea for a small business or to build on a business.
Well, if you could get me a T1 sod farm right about now, I mean, let me tell you, you got that? Come see me right after the
meeting. There have been times, you know, way up front when we started the project that we had to supplement our development efforts with trades from Las Vegas and St. George. For the most part, today we use exclusively mesquite trades. Now the HOA, I think sometimes they'll go to St. George, to a Costco there for, you know, huge bulk products, you know, coffee stirrers and stuff like that. But for the most part, we're able to use mesquite trades. And in fact, you know, when we first came to Mesquite and we spoke to the mayor and the council people, we had a handshake that we'd use mesquite trades to the extent that we could, and we've actually paid a premium in Mesquite for some of the trades, just so that we could honor that handshake over the years. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that we've kept that commitment.
Well, like Quincy's company and Corey's, we really do try to contract with local suppliers, local contractors whenever we can. So I'm not really sure if any one industry sort of jumps out, because most of the time for us, it's a question not about whether to use someone locally, but whether that person wants to be an independent contractor, or whether they want to become, you know, part of Eureka and sort of join our payroll. And so, in that situation, I think you're finding, and I'm looking out on an entire audience of business people, is that more and more of them want to become, you know, direct employees, because I think it's getting more complicated. I mean, just the number of hours that you spend trying to figure out the new sort of Affordable Care Act consequences, right? So a lot of those people would rather say, you know, how about I just work for you and you guys figure it out? So that's what's happened more than, you know, seeing new businesses. The ones where we sort of rely on them are, you know, the big distributors in, you know, food, drink, you know, the Coca-Cola people, you know, those, they pretty much have to come out of Las Vegas. You know, and I'm actually using the example for St. George that, you know, they handle our laundry, because really building a plant is so expensive that you need to have a certain scale to be able to be efficient. So nothing immediately jumps to mind, but it is, you know, it is a value of ours to try to keep jobs in Mesquite.
meeting. You know, a couple of things I think to add to Greg. I mean, one of the great things about Mesquite is a lot of the small businesses, but Danielle's Chocolates, I talked about, you know, Ready Golf, you know, you have many of the landscaping companies, there's electric companies. I mean, when you go through, I know Wolf Creek, we definitely try to, when we can, get as many local businesses, and we do a lot of it. And so it is a focus point. Sometimes in a golf course you just need certain products that you have to get it pretty quickly in order to keep your golf course running and operating, that you wish you had, I'm not talking about golf clubs, I'm talking about just the actual golf course itself, that we have to come in and import stuff more, basically out of state. in many cases. But without question, I think that my view on it is that we're all in this together. I think that Ready Golf is a great complement. I'm hoping I'm not picking on Mike and Michelle here, but they just do. If you've ever been in their shop, and if you haven't been, and even if you're not a golfer per se, I would honestly encourage anybody to go walk in their shop. They just are such a great representative of this community. Their customer service is friendly. They're on top of things. They've got an unbelievable selection, and they're a real asset to have for the golf community, not only the existing selection.
I had another thought as I sat here for a minute. I also serve as the president of the board at Sun City Mesquite. I'm thinking of the checks that I sign, and we use a asphalt maintenance company out of St. George. To my knowledge, there's not one here in Mesquite. There's an iron company that we use out of Vegas for wrought iron fencing and painting and restoration. To my knowledge, there's not one here, and I know there's a number of other vendors that, if they were available here, we would certainly entertain bids from them. It's my fiduciary duty as a board member to entertain bids. With Pulte, I have the liberty to spend a little bit more for for a quality contract that I have relationships with, that I will hit our schedules. But as it relates to the board, we typically, unless directed otherwise by staff or feedback from residents, we go with the low bid. Deborah Demos could probably tell you some of those other vendors.
Company.
What's that?
Mesquite Bus Company.
Mesquite Bus Company. Yeah, a bus company. You use Vegas bus companies for.
We use local.
They use Mesquite Bus.
Oh.
For all of our out-of-town trips, all of our concerts to go to, we just went to Beavis Day on California on Saturday. We use Mesquite Bus Company exclusively. You're local.
Very good.
Angie,
I have a question for Corey. I'd like to know, we're 80 miles from Las Vegas. Why can we not become our own county?
You want me to bring that up to the state legislature?
That's where it goes.
If anybody's got pulled, all of you gentlemen out there do it.
You know, I think the one thing I think there's a couple of things. I think Mesquite, again, I'm a big believer. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of great people. Let me just go back and say that again. Last year I mentioned Kathy Lee and all of the great work, just constant positive energy. What's so neat about this community is there is a lot of very successful people that have done a lot of previous things that have retired. I think one of the challenges is getting more of those folks involved in some way to contribute because they have a lot to offer. I'm younger than a lot of my great outside staff. I mean, Jeff was telling me that we have some CFO of a prominent company before. I mean, I wouldn't even know this, but when you talk to a lot of folks, they offer a lot of great wisdom and advice. I think we need to get more of those folks involved and participating, and if they have free time, why we recognize the retirement is great. In terms of what kind of thing we have in our perception in the rest of the state, I think is important. And I know we might want to be our own county. That would be a new trick for me. But
I live in Sun City and there's enough of us, all hire of us.
that's great. Hey, I think that's great, but I also think that when we do things, we have a great lifestyle here, and we figured out a way that works for us. I think that, again, one of the things to think about, again, if you're in a leadership position or you're thinking of running it or you're just an influencer, is thinking about how we communicate with the rest of the state, what things that we need to do, and thinking about all the positive things that we have to offer. And so in terms of looking out beyond where we are, we need to remember that we have a competitive advantage here that a lot of folks are not being able to do. We can't get into the habit of just because Henderson, Nevada does something, or just because Reno, Nevada does something, that means that applies to our market. We have a unique market here, meaning that our market here, just because Las Vegas home prices might be this, that doesn't necessarily mean that necessarily needs to work here. We should be proud of what we have here. And that's kind of my viewpoint of Mesquite. And I think if we focused on that and built from that, I mean, it dovetails like what I previously said, but I think we're going to be even a lot stronger. And I think we're going to continue to grow. We've got some great people, great companies that are obviously heavily invested and doing a lot of wisdom all around us. And sometimes you just need to have a little self-reflection. Say, hey, sorry.
I don't really know what we would gain and what we could lose by being in our own county. I think it would be very, very difficult. So what I want to mention is that I think as a community, both as a city, but also as a destination, that we can do more within the existing structure. A good example is, I don't know if George Rapson is here, but we were at an LVCVA board meeting together, and someone from the Nevada Council on Tourism was taking the board through their state budget, because a sizable amount of money goes to the state. A majority of that, probably a large majority of those room tax dollars come from the Strip, come from Clark County, okay? And it goes to the state in order to invest in tourism, which is different from the Strip tourism. So the LVCVA and R&R advertising have a large budget to market the Strip, and you see, what goes here, stays here in those iterations of advertising. And they also spend money on widening I-15 coming from Los Angeles. But there's also a pool of money that's not insignificant. Okay, it's not as large as the pool run by the LVCVA, but large enough. Okay, and George said to me, "Have we, as Mesquite, ever applied for that money? Because we're a rural location. We're rural. We need to market ourselves. We should be able to apply as part of Clark County. We think that we can make an argument, maybe stronger than Washoe and other northern Nevada, counties for that money." So I said, you know what? I'm not sure we have. So these are things which I think we can do a better job as a group, as a community, to try to get funds and position ourselves within the existing framework.
I'll look forward to that.